Excellent, excellent. Looks like they have things set up. I wonder what's going on with the partition, though. That's odd. All right. Class has started. I hope you're on time, all of you wonderful members of the herd. All right, let's get some lights on. I'm not sure why I'm sure Herr Obermeister and Mr. Bean are the ones that set this up, but I don't know why they have the partition. What's all the drama about here? We're just doing an unboxing for my friend Sonny Jim, who's from out east. All right, here goes the partition. Let's reveal what these guys are up to. All right, let me shut the music off for a second. I'm loving this tune. It's awesome. So, what are you guys up to here? We're doing an unboxing for Sonny Jim, and it looks like you've set up the musical instrument. Do you guys know something I don't know? You do know what's inside. Well, how did you find out? What do you mean Sonny Jim called you guys? She didn't call me. And she said that since Scott's always the one having a chance to put out the clues for the unboxings, that she wanted you guys to give out the clues this time. And that's why you set up this musical instrument. Well, all of the students in this classroom are very smart, and they remember the significance of the musical instrument in relation to this particular maker. Pfaff, right? Okay, good. So what did you guys find out, or what research did you do in relation to the Pfaff Sewing Machine Company? Yep, you're right, Mr. Bean. It was founded in Kaiserslautern, Germany in 1862 by instrument maker George Michael Pfaff. Yes, you're right, Herr Obermeister. He did live from 1823 until 1893. Yep, Pfaff's first machine was handmade and designed to sew leather in the manufacture of shoes. Exactly right. And in 1885, George Michael Pfaff opened a sewing machine shop, yes, in your neck of the woods, Mr. Bean, in London. Exactly right. You guys did really well. Those are some really good facts to share to give us a clue as to what might be in this box that Sonny Jim sent to the workshop. And I know that this machine was purchased through Goodwill, I believe out in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I think that's where this machine came from. And why don't we start the unboxing? I'll put that really pretty music back on, and we will get going on this unboxing. Here we go. I was just double checking. Yep, this came out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Okay, and it looks like there was a person that maybe sold this through Goodwill, because it came from a Dwayne Rantz, R-A-N-T-Z, and it says online store Goodwill, care of Treasure Chest. So Treasure Chest must be the name of Dwayne's business that he runs somehow through Goodwill. Maybe Goodwill allows people to list things, and then after they list things, they pay some sort of a commission or a stipend to Goodwill for being able to list it on their site. I'm only guessing. I have no idea. But that seems to make sense. So that first one you heard is called Victoria, which I think is spectacular. And this next one is going to be called Blues Infusion. I'm just playing kind of a hodgepodge of different flavored musics today. So here goes Blues Infusion. A little bit of blues for a little bit of unboxing. Lots of paper, lots of paper. Yeah, baby, yeah. Woo! I'm liking Blues Infusion a lot. A lot. Yeah, and there was a little packing slip in here. That's apparently what Goodwill does out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Their southwestern Michigan Goodwill Industry Network allows people to list private items kind of through their venue, and then they must pay some sort of commission, almost like an eBay. Goodwill, shopgoodwill.com has kind of taken on the framework of almost an eBay, with allowing people to list personal items, and that's how Sonny Jim got a hold of this particular machine that we're unboxing. So that's kind of neat. And that's neat for local folks too. I know I get contacted all the time by people that have a machine that they might be looking to sell. They're looking at the prospect of getting rid of it, and they ask me, can you help me sell it through your YouTube channel or through your Facebook page? And that's not really something that I'm wanting to get into right now. And partly because, I'll just be honest, I don't know what condition these machines are in that some of these folks have contacted me about. It may be a garage sale find. It might be something they inherited. It might be they bought a house and they found it in the basement of the house. And the condition of the machine is really an unknown factor. And so when it comes to unknown factors and kind of putting my name on it in a sense, because if I allow them to put it on the YouTube channel, or I allow them to put it on my Facebook business page, then it becomes a reflection of me. In a sense, I'm endorsing it. And if Goodwill wants to do that out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, I think that's awesome, but it's not something I'm ready to do. Just to save anyone out there that's looking to reach out like others and say, hey, can I put my machine on your channel? Can I put it on the YouTube channel? Can I share with you a video of it? No, sorry. But you can take it, or you can post it on the Kalamazoo site. That's kind of cool. So you do have options. You got options. You got lots of options. All right. So this next one is called Dream of a Day. Dream of a Day. Well, this gentleman that listed this through Goodwill did not believe in creating much suspense when it came to the unboxing. He draped the bubble wrap over the top of this machine, and I can see the machine right from here. So this may be a fairly short unboxing. Oh my gosh. Not to mention it's not a good packing principle to simply drape bubble wrap over an item that's fragile and expect the draping of that bubble wrap to protect that item. It's not going to happen. You're right, Herr Obermeister. You're right. I heard that. He said, Scott, why don't you just say the guy did a crappy job of packing? Okay. Dwayne did a crappy job of packing. Now, I know I have music playing in the background, but listen. Thanks, Mr. Bean. I thought that was good rhythm, too. So we obviously have an accessory box here with goodies inside, and there was no padding of any sort put on the inside of there. You can tell that right away just by, I mean, this stuff's just banging around in there. And again, if it's all metal, okay, it'll get scratched up or whatever, but if you've got a combination of metal and plastic in there, definitely not a good thing. Not a good thing. And it only takes a second to take a little piece of bubble wrap just like this and stick it in between the lid and the base to kind of press that stuff down. And then all of a sudden you've got a much more secure way of transporting it. And as Herr Obermeister and Mr. Bean highlighted by their very clever intro, this is in fact for a FOF sewing machine, an original tin, original accessory box, and this is really a neat find. This in particular, back in the day when a FOF sewing machine was being sent from the factory, the stitch offs would occur right at the factory before that machine was allowed to leave, pretty much like the workshop. I'll balance this on the edge and hope it doesn't fall. Just like at the workshop, we always try to premiere the machine either on camera or off camera. I do confirmation sew-offs just like this to demonstrate the scope and quality of the stitch of what that machine can do. So that's in fact what this is, and you can see they actually stamp the material to highlight the fact that it was done at the FOF sewing machine factory. They actually stamp it with FOF all over the place. You can see that those black stamps. And then they even do the buttonholer test on the machine as well up here. They sew a buttonhole, and then they actually sew a button right onto the cloth. So this is something that you don't see a lot of these. So Sunny Jim really has hit the lottery in getting this particular sew-off. And then on the back, to authenticate it further, if the stamps all over the material that say FOF aren't enough, they then have a confirmation right here showing the stamp of the actual operator that ran the test on the machine. And they give the machine number, they give the FOF class number, they give the control number. They put all that info right on there so that you can tell straight away that this was not something that was made up, it's not something that was fabricated, it's something that was done right at the factory, presumably in Kaiserslautern, Germany. So this is a show, in my opinion, a show of confidence. And that's exactly the same reason that I do confirmation sew-offs. After I'm done repairing, restoring, or reconditioning a machine, I do the same thing. I don't put a button on it. Maybe I should. And I don't stamp it Scott, 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 Scott. But this is really awesome. It's a great find. And then inside of the tin, we've got just a wide variety of different goodies. All kinds of attachments. We've got extra bobbins. We've got a darning plate. That's kind of neat. And everything in here is metal. Well, that's not true. We've got plastic here. So again, my point in why should you pad it? Plastic, 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 plastic. Even on this particular metal attachment, you've got a plastic screw for tightening it down once you, actually for adjusting it, I should say. It's a slider that you loosen to slide it and widen it out, and then you can tighten it back down. But the point is, you have a combination of metal and plastic in here. So take a second, throw some bubble wrap inside so that when I shake it, it doesn't sound like this. Fair enough? All right. Looking to see if we have any other goodies in here. It looks like we probably do. But first of all, of course, I've got to put on a little bit of... No, Herr Obermeister, I'm not going to put on polka music right now. I'm not going to put... Well, okay, one polka tune. I'll put on one polka tune, but I was really liking this kind of mellow, cool music too. So I'll put on one polka for you, okay? Hold on a second. You want double polka? Okay, all right, I'm putting on double polka right now for you, Herr Obermeister. Here we go. No, that's not you playing the tuba, is it? How many of you believe that that's actually Herr Obermeister playing the tuba? Type it in the chat. If you believe it's true, type it in the chat. I mean, he's a man of great character, and he stands tall in the saddle if he rode a horse. But yeah, I don't see him playing a tuba. I think it's a little bit, unless it's like a micro tuba, if that's a thing. Okay. Do you remember we just, excuse me, We just premiered Mary Rowan's 339, remember that? And it had the very type of extension bed that this machine has with it. Complete FOF sewing machine. All it needs is a bobbin case, which can be found on eBay. So there's a great tip from the seller, huh? Now the question I would have is, if you're selling a machine like this and everything else is complete supposedly, why wouldn't you go on eBay and get the bobbin case yourself, set the machine up, and then demonstrate that the machine actually sews? Very likely because the person selling this machine doesn't know how to sew and doesn't know how to set the machine up. I'm just making an assumption, but instead of taking the time to put a sticky note, actually it's not even a sticky note, it's a sticker that I'm gonna have to peel off of here. But instead of taking time to write this out and explain where they need to get the item they need, just get the item. Set the machine up, show that the machine works, and do some sew-offs. And then you could even potentially list the machine for more because you've demonstrated that it works. And you know what? I'm remiss, very, very remiss. When I set Mary Rowan's up, the bed was so sturdy, I never even flipped the leg down, but Mary's has a leg just like this as well that's built into it, so that it's got those extra pedestal feet on the end to give that extra little extension bed more support. So, sorry Mary, yours has the same thing. So this is a nice little thing, and it really does expand that workspace significantly for this machine. And it looks like we have an original power cord. And this power cord looks to be in very, very good shape. The wiring looks solid. It's still very malleable. It's not brittle. Well, there you go, Herr Obermeister. That was your double polka. Now we're going to go back to the other music. What? One more polka? What? Let me think about it. And you can see how FOF wires their plugs. They do not close them off. There is a little piece of paper that some of the makers will slide over these prongs to kind of close off the open leads, because that sometimes makes people a little bit nervous. What I usually do is I use a filler and just kind of seal it off permanently after I've made sure that the screw contacts are real solid and kind of insulate it. So I may do that with Sonny Jim's as well. But this is a real nice cord, very, very good quality, and original to the machine too. So Sonny Jim is a good shopper, finding some real good stuff. All right, I'm guessing that this is going to be a foot controller, huh? I'll put on one more polka song for Herr Obermeister, and then we'll unbox this little portion as well. Let's see. No, I'm not going to read all the titles off to you. I'll tell you what, I'm going to play one that we haven't played yet, okay? It's called Smoked Kielbasa Polka. Smoked Kielbasa Polka. I'm not making it up. Here we go. Why are you guys laughing? What is he doing? Herr Obermeister! Alright, we gotta continue. I didn't know he had it in him, did you? He's actually a pretty good dancer. That is a cool tune, and YouTube just added that because I know I've searched polka before and that song has never been there, so they must have just, I don't know how they do it, they must buy the rights to the songs so that they have them available for folks that are creators to add them to productions, and I don't know how many other folks actually play the music while they're doing live premieres, but that's what I do. And this is a fabulous foot controller too. I think I'm going to travel out and go shopping with Sonny Jim because this is a beautiful, beautiful original FOF bus style foot controller. If you've never seen one of these before, they literally look like a bus pedal. They're so huge. And they do an excellent job of allowing you a lot of control when you're regulating the speed of that machine. And unlike some of the other makers that we've seen recently, where the foot controllers or the motors or a combination of both are made by a third party and then distributed by that original maker, this foot controller is absolutely made, you just look right above my finger there, made in Germany. So this is absolutely an authentic, original German-made foot controller. And it looks like their division, and we've seen this in some of the other ones, I believe that, yeah, Mary Roan's was stamped with Elite also. So it's just, it's kind of their thing. Maybe their foot control division or something like that in Germany, Elite. And I'm pronouncing it as Elite even though there's not an I in it. So, but I make up words all the time, you know that. But this also, you know, other than this little rubber boot thing here having torn loose, this also looks to be, excuse me, this also looks to be in very, very good shape. So I don't know how detailed the listing photos were that Sonny Jim had to work with before bidding on this and winning this machine, but it's everything so far, other than the packing job, everything else is fantastic. Beautiful foot controller. Again, the power cord looks super. Good variety of attachments that could have been padded by the shipper. Extension bed. A lot of goodies that Sonny Jim pulled out of this. So that's super. All right, I'm going to go back to some of my harp music, I think. That's what I typed in for that music I was playing before, was the harp music. And then we'll continue with this unboxing so you can see this machine. All right, let me get this on. All right, this one is called Breathing Planet. Almost sounds cinematic, doesn't it? Like you would see it in a movie. But that's okay, we're creating a little bit of suspense here because we're so close to you seeing, at last, Sonny Jim's treasure that she got through Goodwill out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And this music is absolutely perfect. Whoa, 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 what's going on? Herr Obermeister! Holy cow, he's got moves. Mr. Bean, he can dance almost as well as you. All right, all right, I'll let you listen to the rest of the tune, but we have to move on. Here, Obermeister, come on, really, we gotta go. All right, I guess we're listening to polka for right now. Yes, it is a great tune, Herr Obermeister. I love it. I love it. But I like the other music too, and a lot of our viewers enjoy non-polka music occasionally too. I know that polka music is the best. I get it. But we're going to go back to some of the other music, I think, so that we can have some variety, right? Okay, we're going to do one called The Heist now, which is labeled funky. Yeah, I'll say that's a little funky. Sounds like we're in the Twilight Zone or something. And I didn't comment about it, but this is a very, very high quality box that Goodwill out of Kalamazoo, Michigan used. It's very, very sturdy. I can pull out on it, and remember some of the boxes when I pulled out on it would bow way out. This one is really solid. Goodwill is not messing around, and or the seller that didn't do such a great job of packing at least picked a great box. Super box. All right, we're going to come off the tripod so you can look down into this box with me. So we've got all those little bubble packs around it, but on the bottom, we only have a real thin layer of bubble padding underneath this heavy, heavy German machine. Well, that's interesting. Someone either took this apart, was going to take it apart, I wonder why that's unscrewed like that. That's odd, isn't it? It's just totally... Well, hopefully that's not an indication of a problem, because why would someone ship a machine and have the screw plate loosened where the power cord plugs in? It doesn't make sense. Does it make sense to you? Why they would do that? One side is screwed in, the other side is not screwed in. Weird, huh? Well, you're looking at it from the back of the machine, and I can't see if you're typing guesses in or not. But what are your thoughts on what machine this is? Any thoughts on what this is? Don't you love how the Germans, again, the Germans are so smart when it comes to setting up owners for success. And these cleated belts look really good, by the way, from what I'm seeing right here. Yeah, this machine has not seen a huge amount of use based on the cleated belts. I'm getting a nice free turning of the balance wheel. It's turning very nicely. The belts are really clean looking. They're not dried out and kind of brittle looking like we've seen on some of the recent machines. So yeah, this is Sonny Jim is a good shopper, and I'm really glad that this red oil mark is still visible right here, because this is one of the areas that constantly is missed by FOF sewing machine owners. Right underneath this balance wheel, and you really have to kind of look for it. It's kind of hard to see, but right on the edge of that, you almost have to kind of tuck it past the wheel. Let me kind of come in a little bit closer. You almost have to kind of tuck it in past the wheel. See that little well right there? Just to the right of that cleated belt and to the left of that bobbin winding tire, there's a critical lubrication well right there. That is probably the most important lubrication well on the entire machine, because it's going to lubricate the movement of that balance wheel coming off of the motor. And a lot of folks will miss this. That red will eventually get rubbed off, will fade away, and because it's almost completely, well, it is completely, it's completely concealed by that bobbin winding tire, a lot of folks miss it. And see, that's actually retracted right now. I can pull it back manually, and then you can all of a sudden see see the well. But when it's just released, not even engaged, that well is completely covered. And then you've got other points marked along the way as well. The fine tuners have lubrication points on them as well. Another lubrication point there. Another lubrication point that some of the folks will miss because it's, looking for my finger, it's kind of tucked away, and that's another one also that kind of fades over time. Lubrication point way down there. Let me see if I can come out. Right below the fine tuners. It's really hard to see it. I don't know if I'll be able to get it in the camera or not. There it is. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to show you. And there's, you know, these little markers that they put on here are helpful. Like that one too. But they're not all inclusive. In other words, there are other critical lubrication points that are not highlighted in red that should also be lubricated. Even going down to this knob right here on the inside, there's pivot points on it that have to be lubricated. Same thing here. Same thing here. Don't lubricate your upper tension, please. Don't do that. And then inside of the faceplate, obviously. There's other critical lubrication points on the bottom of the machine too, which the FOF design does not really allow you to access them very easily. So that would be the only downfall of that. But good, solid German machine. So has anyone guessed the model of it yet? Let me go ahead and get back on the tripod, and you can let me know through the chat whether or not you've identified what model you think this is. That belongs to Sonny Jim. And in the meantime, I'll put on some more music that probably is not polka related. All right, this next one is called Ferris Wheel. Ferris Wheel. I am going to show you one thing before we transition on. Because again, this machine only had the bubble wrap kind of tucked around it. The machine was able to move around, and look at what happened to the inside of this box. We saw this just recently on another premiere. What do you think caused that? The machine getting bounced around inside of the box, cutting through the side of this heavy gauge box, and it's actually punched all the way through. If I turn it around, assuming I can turn it around without showing Mary's information. Not Mary, excuse me. Sonny's information, and Sonny's name is not Mary. I'm thinking of Mary Rowan. And there's the punch through right there from the other side. All the way through the box to the outside. This is why we cocoon a machine, is so that things like this don't happen. And even if there's no apparent damage on the outside of this machine as we look at it, the fact that it was being bounced around to that degree that it was able to punch a hole through the side of a thick corrugated box like this tells you right away how inadequately this Dwayne Rance, who has an online store called the Treasure Chest through Goodwill Online over there in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Dwayne needs to work on doing better packing jobs, because it takes a lot for a machine to get bounced around to the degree that it can punch a hole through corrugated cardboard as heavy gauge as this. Again, the box is excellent. The packing job is horrible. So Dwayne is 50% of the way there with his business, the Treasure Chest, out of Goodwill Online in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I'm mentioning him several times just so if any of you else are thinking about shopping through that particular part of Goodwill, which I guess is part of their, I saw it before somewhere. At any rate, it's the Goodwill Online out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. That you'll just be extra cautious, because there's nothing wrong with writing to a seller and saying, hey, I happen to see a premiere on another machine that you sold to a customer that follows what Scott does, and it looks like you did a pretty crummy job in packing, and I don't want you to do a crummy job in packing my machine, so that when Scott does the unboxing, because that's what Sonny did. Sonny Jim bought this through Goodwill Online out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, and then had the person selling it, this Dwayne Rance, who has an online store apparently through Goodwill out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, called the Treasure Chest. Once he sold it to Sonny Jim said, don't ship it to me, ship it to the workshop in Oconto, Wisconsin. So you can do that. You can absolutely do that. A lot of customers do. They'll buy a machine online, which is kind of an unknown commodity, and then they will direct that seller, whether it's through Facebook Marketplace, whether it's through eBay, whether it's through Etsy, whatever it is, you have the right to request that they ship it to the workshop here, so I can make sure that when it gets to you, it's ready to get the job done. It's good to go. It's been checked from bobbin to balance wheel. So don't roll the dice completely, at least. I mean, you're rolling the dice a little bit by buying a machine through a venue other than this workshop, because it hasn't been proven, it hasn't been tested. I mean, the evidence of that, again, is a seller that has what otherwise is a fabulous machine, and instead of buying a bobbin case and setting the machine up, getting an owner's manual. I don't see any owner's manual with this machine, so he probably was like, oh, I don't know how to thread this thing. I don't even know what to do with it. But you know, instead of posting a note like this, taping it to this extension bed, he could have just set the machine up, but he didn't. Dwayne didn't do that because Dwayne, I would say with some degree of certainty, didn't know how. Which also tells you if he doesn't know how to set the machine up and demonstrate a sew-off other than the original sew-off that came from the Pfaff factory in Kaiserslautern in Germany, then he certainly doesn't know anything about the machine. He hasn't checked it. He hasn't checked hook timing. He hasn't checked the balance of the stitching with the upper tension, and he couldn't have done that anyway without getting a bobbin case, obviously. So, you know, it says a lot. It says a lot if you look at it, you know, even slightly analytically, that when you have someone offering what looks like a good machine otherwise, but they're not willing to show that it works, reason for pause, right? Reason for pause. But Sonny Jim was smart enough to balance those scales that she had no control over. She can't control what Dwayne does with his business online, but she can control the outcome of what that machine is going to do when it gets to her out going towards the East Coast. So we have a very smart buyer and a seller, in my opinion, that could do better. Could definitely do better. All right, what's our next one going to be? Let's do Wistful Harp. Wistful Harp, H-A-R-P. All right, if you haven't guessed it by now, I'm going to slowly work at turning this machine around so you can see the front of it, but I'm going to zoom in on this first of all. We have some sort of an abrasion or a scuff on there. I just want to document that during the unboxing. And I just kind of rub my finger over that, and it doesn't come off. That could also be some sort of a spill on there, and it's just staining that, so that could also be the case. That screw loosened on that power cord plug-in point is still a mystery. Why they would do that? Unless Dwayne was in there trying to check something, or he simply didn't notice that it was unscrewed. I don't know. Of course, that leads you to believe if he could miss something that seems as obvious as that, what else did he miss? And that's my job now to find that out. Find out what else Dwayne missed. Okay, let's turn this machine around so you can see the front. So if you haven't typed into the chat, it's going to be too late. Yes, it is a Pfaff 232 232. 332. 332. 332. I cannot talk today. Blah, blah. So I think what we'll do is, we've already taken the top off to look at that. I'm going to go ahead and lower this bed again, and we'll kind of walk around. Just going to check to see if there's anything else we want to look at underneath here. Just see if there's anything else, yeah, on the bed area. We can look at that as well. And I'll probably come off the tripod to do that. It gets us a little bit closer to the machine. So let's do that. I've got a horrible frog in my throat today. It's so irritating. So this is Sunny Jim's FOF 332 332. Thread guide is good. So all the movements of the machine so far, yeah, this doesn't work. These are notorious for having issues. This auto threader, when it comes down, it's supposed to rotate. It's supposed to rotate to the front so that it pushes that thread in through the eye of the needle. And this is not working correctly. And these have a high failure rate, just because of the way they're set up. And if you've never taken one of these face covers off on a 332, you have to take the top off. I'm actually kind of kneeling here. You have to take the top off, and then there's a screw right here. You have to loosen that screw, and then what it does is it allows this plate, the face plate, to slide down, and then you can take it off. And just be mindful that the way this is set up as well is that auto threader is connected from, you actually can kind of see it right there. It's connected from the face plate mechanism to a mechanism on the machine, and you just have to make sure when you put it back on that those two join up. Otherwise, when you go to try to use your auto threader, assuming yours actually works, which again on the 332s is a rarity. Most of them don't work, but you have to make sure those two right there join up so that that actually moves. I'll show you when I move it. See that, how it pivots? And yes, there's two levers. One furthest to the left, as I'm looking over the machine, is your auto threader. And the one to the right, obviously, is your presser foot lever. So yeah, not a big deal. I mean, a lot of these have issues because of that pivot factor with the way that the auto threader has been designed by FOF. So. And it is true, there's no bobbin in there. Again, the movement to this machine is very, very nice. But don't let that deceive you, because you might be saying, well, maybe, you know, you said that the cleated belts looked like they hardly been used. They looked really, really good. But little telltale signs like this tell you right away that this is not a machine that has seen no use. Because there we've got a lot of, see all that garbage inside of the little plate area? Right there we've got more kind of thread remnants and fluff and lint and all kinds of other stuff inside of there. So it's not a super clean machine, but it does have some real nice movement as far as that balance wheel. And again, just a couple of little cosmetic imperfections here on the bed. We've got the rub point just from the material being moved over innumerable times. We got, like on the back, well, this is actually a little bit deeper. It's kind of a scratch right there on the front of the machine. You know, signs of wear here just from material being moved over it so many times. But all in all, it seems like it's a very, very good machine. Especially to work with. I think it's super. And I know Sonny had specifically asked about replacing the bulb. There is a standard incandescent bulb, but look at how clean that bulb is. They're usually all crusty, nasty looking. So wherever this machine was stored was a place where it didn't have a lot of environmental stuff that, you know, got it all yucky looking. So this is a little stiff through here. It's a little bit stiff, and it's moving almost like it's catching. Yeah, so the function of that is not as it should be. And again, if you're not familiar with it, I'll explain this when I premiere this machine eventually, but this little lever right here is your needle position. So as I push it down, I can move it. So right now we're at right needle position. And there's no needle in the machine, but you can see that it's moving as I move that. Now we're, there we go, now we're at center. Yeah, that's right around... Yeah, that's right around center. And left needle position. And this inner markings here, 0 to 4, that's going to be your stitch width. I'm very glad to see there's no cracking on the knob. The plastic that they use to make these knobs over time dries out from the inside out, becomes brittle, and these have a high tendency to crack. They'll develop usually little hairline cracks first of all, and those hairline cracks will, from the environment of the machine, will fill up with oil resin and stuff. They'll turn like a dark brown, almost a chocolate brown, and then eventually it cracks all the way through, and usually at that point you're looking at a knob replacement. Again, this little controller is in relation to your buttonholer. This is going to be controlling cam output and features. You already saw me operate this one. This one lowers our light as we push it to the left. And we'll probably plug this machine in real quick just to see, again, because the wiring looks so good. I'm not seeing any signs that we have issues with the wiring. We'll just test it out for Sonny Jim real quick. This is our feed dog drop, our light button. This is another one that gets broken off quite often. And the movement for the feed dog is also moving very, very nicely. I obviously haven't checked to see if the feed dogs are set properly. On these FOFs, you sometimes have to make adjustments on the height of the feed dogs so that they're pulling the material through more evenly. These at a glance look like they're set real well. Yeah, rub points there on the chrome. But all in all, this appears to be a solid machine so far. Of course, we don't know if it sews, do we? That might be a little bit of a stumbling block. Alright, so I'm going to come out on this shot a little bit. I'm going to remember to plug my power back in. And we'll get this plugged in and just do a quick test for Sunny Jim so that she knows that the machine actually runs. Because at this point, that's something we don't know. Somebody that can't buy a bobbin case, they probably didn't even take time to plug the sucker in, you know what I mean? Yes, I'm going to keep beating up Dwayne. Absolutely. With his treasure chest store. Alright, what do we have now? Why don't we try Synth Wind? Synth Wind. Here we go. See, our light is already on, huh? As I push that button. And one of the requests that Sunny Jim had was for me to replace that bulb that the machine has right now with an LED. So this is a perfect opportunity to show you the light difference again. That the LED puts out compared to the original incandescent bulb. All right, let me shut off this light over here at least. So here you have the incandescent bulb, which doesn't do a horrible job. We've got fairly good light on that bed, but if you look at it in the workshop, if you were actually here in the workshop, you would see it's almost kind of a yellow color. It's and we're in complete darkness right now. So you can kind of see the light quality right now as it stands. I better shut that light off before it gets too hot. Then I'm going to rotate our light down. Yeah, it's already gotten pretty warm, but I'm going to try to switch her out. And then I'm going to replace it with that LED bulb that Sunny asked that I put in. We'll rotate that up into the housing. And now this is the LED light. And if you can't see that in the camera, it's a shame because it's a much brighter white light, much purer light than the incandescent bulb. And the brightness of the bed, even from a distance, you can see it. You know, that again is our LED light at work right now. And if I, again, just for contrast, woo! I'll shut that off, put the other one in again, and you can look at it from a distance comparatively. It is pretty dramatic, isn't it? Yeah, the brightness, I mean, when you're right here looking at it, holy macro, if you're sitting here looking to sew, It's dramatically different. Dramatically different. So Sunny Jim will get an LED bulb in place of this. Is this a 25 watt or a 15 watt? I was trying to read the. I'll try to read it once I bring the lights back up. But huge difference in lighting, for sure. And when you're working on longer projects, the fatigue factor that you can save with having a lighting system that's going to really fully light up that bed and that needle area, you get a lot less fatigue when you're working on longer projects, even shorter projects for that matter. So oh, actually I could have left that off because it's fun. Remember, it's fun to kind of watch the machine operate, assuming that it's going to operate when we push on the foot controller. And I'll leave the music off for right now so that you can more readily see the machine moving. I was just checking real quick. I had a call that came in, heard it buzzing. Yeah, nothing critical. Okay, so let me do this. Let me go ahead and get off the tripod. We'll come over by Sunny Jim's 332, which all in all, again, other than the packing job, the machine itself, you know, it's got little mars and scrapes and stuff like this. And we'll kind of go around the whole machine and just document the way it is right now. But the overall condition of the machine seems to be really quite good. Really quite good. Alright, so keep your fingers crossed. I'm going to push on the foot controller. We'll see what happens. Come on in this shot a little bit. Oh yeah, that's a nice strong motor. I'm smelling something though. Maybe it hasn't been operated in quite a while. I'm guessing that my seller friend with treasure chest probably never plugged it in. Maybe he did. If you listen real carefully over here, you hear that little clicking sound. It almost sounds like on a car when the lifters are out of alignment a little bit. Listen real carefully. Can you hear that? That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. That's going to require some work. And as you increase the speed, it becomes more pronounced. You can see we do have varnishing on the inside of that bobbin actuator. Yeah, I'm hearing metal to metal. How about you? Can you hear that? Should not sound like that. Yeah, I'm a definite fan of LED lights at this point, folks. I'm a definite fan. So right now we have it on straight stitch. It's our needle alignment. There we go, now we're centered. So our needle alignment looks good too. That's centered. Let's go over and see how our needle swing is. You hear that clicking again? That's really loud, isn't it? That's really, really loud, that clicking sound. And it's not coming from the hook area. So we're going to do a little bit of digging into this machine. Like I said, all in all, it's a very, it seems to be a very fine 332. But when you're getting and you can't smell it in the you can't smell it through the Premiere, obviously, but in the workshop there's also an odor coming from this 332 as well. I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is. It's going to require an adjustment and some cleaning. But the motor on this machine, really good power. The power I'm very satisfied with. It's probably about halfway. There we go. Oh, that poor bobbin winding tire. There's actually little pieces flying off of it. It's kind of dried out. It's interesting when you activate the bobbin winding tire. Listen. No, it's still there. I was going to say the clicking is gone, but getting a little bit of heat. I'm going to do a quick temp check on this foot controller. We've been operating the machine off and on. Just again, the ideal thing as far as a foot controller is that it's going to be about 5 degrees higher than the ambient temperature in the room. $123, that's higher than it needs to be, so I'll have to look at this foot controller as well. Even that temperature right there, 97, is quite a bit higher than it should be. 126. So we're getting almost 130 degrees. We are getting 130 there, 130.4. So the highest temp we got is about 130.4, which is quite a bit higher than you should be running with a foot controller like this. Especially this FOF design, because it's got really good ventilation. See the ventilation here? And you got the same ventilation on the other side to allow that heat to escape. So the fact that we're hitting almost 131 degrees with fairly minimal operation is throwing up some red flags for me, as far as, not as far as this being the correct foot controller, it certainly is, but the condition of the foot controller. Maybe when I open it up, I'll find out, you know, there's a bunch of buildup in there or other things that are causing it to overheat. But running 131 degrees when it should be running closer to, temperature in this room is about 73 degrees. This should be running in right around 78 to 80 degrees. Right around 80 degrees. And we're coming in about 131 degrees. Yeah, not a good sign. We had that happen too recently, remember, on Bobby's machine? But that was a different issue. It's totally the wrong foot controller. It doesn't have a high enough amperage threshold, and so it's overheating. This one is absolutely the correct foot controller. Original wiring, original plug-in. So we have something else going on there. Something else going on. All right, let's just kind of move around the machine a little bit. We'll just check it out to document for Sunny Jim what the condition is upon delivery. Move our cover back there. And again, I would say, all in all, you know, this is a solid machine. It's a solid machine. I'm just going to look at the back as well. We kind of looked at the back before the front, didn't we, when coming out of the box? Original power cord. Again, not sure why this is unscrewed. Yeah, we've already looked at those rub marks, scuff marks here on the front as well. But all in all, it's a real decent machine. Real decent machine. These are moving nicely too. And this is obviously, if you're not familiar with the 332, this is your stitch length control area. Right now I have it set on 5, which is the highest setting. So on this setting for 5, we would be getting probably right around 5 to 6 stitches per inch. And as I push it to the right, we can go all the way down, basically down to 0. But obviously, again, if you set your stitch length on 0, the material is not even really going to be moving, and you're going to create a big mess down at the needle. So, you know, if you're doing some sort of embroidery stitches with this or something, you're probably going to be setting it down in the 1 range to 0.5 range, somewhere in there. And then if you rotate this to the left, you're going to be sewing in reverse. And you can see what happens to the feed dogs when we move this. The reverse function, I'll kind of move it back and forth, and moving it back and forth. And that's what's happening to the feed dogs. They're basically pivoting to the rear for reverse sewing when you activate this knob over here. But again, the movement on these controls is impressive for a machine that has not been deep cleaned and serviced yet. They're moving very nicely. I'll have to check this feed dog drop. You see right now it's got a lot of play on it. A lot of play. So I think Sunny Jim has, other than this, you know, the things I pointed out already, to include the foot controller. All in all, this is a very, very nice machine with a huge amount of potential. And again, I'm very impressed by the motor strength. Haven't even done a service on the motor yet, and the motor is putting out probably 70 to 80% of power, and that's superb. So I think Sunny Jim is a very good shopper. I don't know about you, but this is the end of the unboxing. We've covered pretty much all the bases and then some. But again, some great accessories with the original box. We've got the extension bed as well. All original hardware as far as the foot controller, the power cord. A fabulous find. So I would encourage you, keep an eye on what's happening on Goodwill Online out of Michigan, and be smart like Sunny as well. If you make a purchase, don't have them ship it to your house and then discover you have issues with it, and then you have to pay for the shipping a second time basically to get it over here to the workshop. Just have them ship it here straight away, and then I'll go through the machine like I'm going to do on Sunny's machine and get it just running tip-top, and then I will pack it a lot better than Dwayne did and ship it to wherever you are in the world. Anywhere in the world I can ship, and have done so. So great job, Sunny Jim. Great job in picking out a fabulous FOF 332. I'll address the areas that I've talked about and stay in communication with you. And this machine will be done hopefully sometime in the near future. A lot of other machines still ahead. And then you'll be able to enjoy this fabulous Western Germany engineering. Okay? All right, God bless. And remember, you're never old until regrets take the place of your dreams, so don't let any room for those regrets to creep in. Stay focused on your dreams and take action. And remember also, the greatest prize in life is working hard at work worth doing. That's what I do here at the workshop, and I'm sure you do as well wherever you are. And with that, class is dismissed. Take care, folks. And God bless.